At a meeting with avocado farmers in Kiambu on Tuesday, the Export Processing Zone Chief Executive Officer Peter Biwott said that the deal that requires farmers to install machines and coolers for peeling and freezing the fruit before it is exported should be taken positively and seen as a business opportunity. Actually, the Chinese have helped us and given us a wake-up call that we need to add value to our avocado. We do not need to export it fresh. This is a business opportunity we are marketing to business entrepreneurs that they need to invest in value addition plus of agri-technology. Emmanuel Ouma for Morning Extra.
And after Bitcoin, it seems we are going to have a new cryptocurrency after Facebook revealed plans to introduce the new global cryptocurrency called Libra. The Libra is expected to be released later on this year.
The Libra coin plan, having the blessings of financial institutions and non-profit partners, represent an ambitious brand new initiative for the world's largest social network, with potential to bring cryptocurrency out of the blues to the mainstream. Facebook and some 24 partners released a prototype of Libra as an open source code for developers interested in weaving it into apps, services, or businesses ahead of a rollout as global digital money next year. The association's Dante Disparte said it could offer online commerce and financial services at minimal cost to more than 1 billion people without bank accounts or those who use services outside the banking system such as payday loans to make ends meet. Manuel Ouma for Morning Extra.
And of course, that's all we have for news this morning. But we are also following other stories during the day. That is, remember, President Uhuru Kenyatta is expected to make inroads in his deputy's strongholds, that is in Rift Valley, and also in other parts of the country in project launching trips. And now we focus on the newspaper review. I'm joined by my friends here, Kevin Nyariki, news reporter, and Ananka is a news reporter or Hanka, or both?
Both.
And Andrew?
Yes.
Andrew will once more.
Yes, thank you.
And today we have seen so many. So first of all, your reaction about the story we have covered, especially now that we are talking about the youth, the marijuana cookies.
Yes, first and foremost, I think I have had a cookie in the morning, and I knew the source of the cookie.
So it's not that one from
yes, at least that one was packed and had a label on itself. Okay. Now, one thing is that the youth have turned up to go like the desperate way. And the cookie story is not anything new, much in fact. I think this is just something of which is coming to the limelight at this point.
So it has been there?
Yes, it has been there. And when you go on the ground, there's so many other issues that are actually affecting the youth, only that we cannot be able to tell all.
Okay.
Yes.
And Kevin, did you have your cookie also?
It shows that the standard and the morals in the society and the way youth struggle to make a living up to a point whereby they can include marijuana to make the cookies. At the same time, that shows that the society where we are heading, parents have to be more keen with what their kids are doing. Also, it shows that the society where we are heading to, the government and the Kenya Bureau of Standards have to come in and make sure that everything that Kenyan consume passes through their hands.
But there's a lot that doesn't go through their hands.
Of course.
Okay. And there was a debate to legalize marijuana. What's the opinion on that?
Well, on legalizing marijuana, that's a very dangerous trend for us, because as he says, you know, even the moral values and standards of the society are actually tattered and in a very dangerous position right now. Okay. So adding just a little drop of poison to it then actually spoils the whole thing.
The majority of the youth have been using it, although...
Yeah, you see, it's like, yes, they've been using it, but right now, if there was any trend, especially from you know, a government perspective, to say that at least we're doing this now on a legal basis, then actually that would actually go the detrimental way. Okay. And why is because we are hanging like on a string right now, and introducing it to that extent will be cutting off that string, and only tells that we're going to be falling apart.
And it seems the marijuana gives hope, the hope we were talking about to the youth.
You see, this is more than an illusion. It's 2 minutes and 3 minutes hope, and especially on this basis, I actually even read one story that as young as primary school, 4-year-old kids are actually engaging themselves in drugs.
Okay.
Yes, this is a report by NACADA, and this tells us that we really have a big task ahead of us.
And a problem too.
Yes.
And Kevin, let's talk about the Mike Songo and the woman who was pictured breastfeeding on top of a county council vehicle. Are we really become that inhumane as a society?
It all starts with the quality and the qualification of the county kanjos, and then it comes to the society where as an African society, we have to respect women. And then when somebody breastfeeds a kid on top of the vehicle, that's wrong, and the governor has to come in and see the staff. Actually, it has been going on, only that this is one of the incidents that caught the camera, and as a county government, they have to come in and suspend and all make that officer to account for what he did. I don't think that it was a good act for that Kanjo to do that to the woman.
Okay. But Henry, these Nairobi Kanjo guys have been man with a lot of controversies. There was when you go there, I actually witnessed myself, some of them, they are mistreating the hawkers. So and that it's extreme to ask a woman, to force a woman to breastfeed on top of a vehicle. It's really extreme. What do you have to say about that, and what should be done to curb all these bad behaviors from these Kanjo guys?
You see, this actually tells us the extreme of which we are dealing with in terms of on the ground, and as you know, to the extent that this is a mother that is a person that we highly respect within the society. But it also tells that these people now are actually operating from a different bridge from the citizens and the residents of Nairobi City County. Yeah. Because now telling them to go to that extent and going also showing that such kind of things actually tells us that they're actually drunk with power and authority. And the word Kanjo actually is being...
they are more feared than the policemen themselves.
Yes.
It's better to be arrested by the police.
Yes, I've seen them whisk people also, and it's quite a bad picture.
Yeah, we need to condemn that.
Yes.
Okay, let's now shift gears to the newspapers. Let's look at the Daily Nation. Anxiety Suru visits Ruto bastion. Just days after the diatribe against the Tangatanga movement, President Kenyatta travels to political stronghold of his deputy and the group's de facto patron William Ruto on a development tour. So tells that some state house functionaries do not want the host, Kapsabet Member of Parliament Oscar Sudi, anywhere near the microphone. What do you make of this story?
It seems that the president is against those who are against the handshake. Number one, you have to understand that Sudi is against the pact between Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta. At the same time, if you go through what the Daily Nation have wrote, they are saying that they don't want Oscar Sudi to be the main host of the event. It shows you that there is something going on in the ruling party.
And do you believe that will Oscar Sudi be there?
I don't think, because of the state of it's some few hours to do the event.
Okay.
I don't think.
Okay. What's your take on this end?
Okay, at some point then I really wonder why we have to kind of make a fuss of so many things, and this one I take it to the media and also ourselves, because this is a whole on his work track. And,
so we're reading too much.
I think we're concentrating too much on things of which may not actually make a lot of profit and benefit to us. And that being told then is that even the kind of politics we should be reporting and the kind of politics that actually we should be focusing on, the political pillar, Vision 2030, we are still a long way ahead.
And it's like we are moving away from it.
Yes.
And we saw the president coming out on Sunday, gun blazing. And he's unhappy with what is going on.
Yes.
And now you see that his lieutenants also want to victimize the Tangatanga side. So it's somehow, politics is both sides. We cannot ignore it. As much as we want to report authoritatively and also discuss matters about the development and so, but also we cannot put a blind eye on what is going on.
Yeah, for sure.
But is it good for president to neglect some of his party members at this moment? Now that he's talking about handshake, he's talking about bringing people together and move one is outside. Is it right for him to neglect some because they have a different opinion, let's say?
Okay, for me, His Excellency, he's on his second term, and I think it's more of achieving his goals right now. So anyone who stands on his way in terms of him achieving his goals, then stands on the way of him creating his path, and there's no option but to sideline and also to put aside.
Okay.
Yes.
And also, there's another story here. Three guilty of the university terror attack that was in Garissa. 3 suspects were found guilty and 1 was acquitted. And this also brings it back to our topic of today, the depression. What do you think the survivors of this attack are going through right now? And has the government done enough to ensure that they have justice, and also to feel that they are being valued by their own government?
I think, number one, the suspect have to go to guidance and counseling process such that to recover from what they experience. The survivors. And then number two, these guys, the guilty, they have to be treated as an example, to serve an example the rest. And then if you go through the story, you have to understand that one, it was found that he was not guilty. The rest, the 3 guys. It shows that the government and DCI, they are working, and the security of the country is improving on one step after another.
Okay. Are we in the right path, especially for fighting the terrorism? And of course, what would be advice about what the stories are going on? Of course, we will revisit this in our next discussion. But Henry, you can just point it out.
First and foremost, this is a very traumatizing thing, bearing in mind that this is not the first time that it's happening in Garissa, and this begs a question, what actually is happening on the ground in terms of security and all these kind of things. But beyond everything, and this the President has spoken about, it's about on the ground, what are the teachers doing, what are the parents doing, what are actually, the society doing on the ground, because sometimes we tend to focus too much on the police, not bearing that in mind. The police cannot work alone, the security forces cannot work alone, they have to work hand in hand with the society. So I think even in terms of the society, we have failed, and especially the new constitution for Kenya seemed to be the new dawn for Kenya, and when it says that the sovereign power belongs to the people, but the people themselves, I don't know.
They don't recognize they have that power.
Yes, there's something wrong, actually.
Okay, we'll revisit that story later in our discussion. And there's another, I don't want to call it a depression story. There's a lawyer, Asa Nyakundi, who shot his son, was released on bail, and then he failed to turn up to court session. It was then rearrested again yesterday. That's another story given priority on the Daily Nation today. And then please go out against SRC in-pay dispute. The dispute between SRC and members of parliament continues. The members of parliament, they want to ensure that the SRC gives them their house allowances or not. They will kick them out. Let's look at what the Star has this morning. The Star talks about Kenyans steal 150 million from US counties. It's a very interesting story, especially when we have the corruption. We are going global.
Corruption goes beyond borders. It's beyond borders. Yes.
Okay. And the Robert Murray pleads guilty to wire fraud in Virginia. Murray and his Kenyan associate email contacts pretending to be Dell employees asking for payments to be directed to their new accounts. It's a very interesting story. And of course, the 3 Garissa University attack suspects found guilty. And all eyes on Harambee Stars as AFCON gets underway in Egypt. Harambee Stars arrived in Egypt. Is it yesterday?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, sure. We'll be talking about that also. And in KPL, Rangers survive. Posta retained KPL status after switching off Western Stima in playoffs. This was to be covered with the head coach. Yeah,
Nairobi Stima head coach. They had a game yesterday with Rangers. They drew 1-1, but Rangers progressed, went on with a 3-2 aggregate.
So they survived on the aggregate goals.
Yeah, 3-2.
Okay, let's look at what the Standard. Standard has put more focus on education. Say the storm brews over junior secondary education. Leading teachers union divided on whether junior school should be in primary, secondary level, or if it should fall under an independent category. And this the new curriculum.
Yes.
It seems that majority of Kenyans, they don't understand what it is. Because after like 2 years, after it was, I don't know, it's about around 5 years when it started, the discussion started coming out from the government, and up to now there's still debate about whether the junior secondary school should be independent or should be in its own level. Do you think that the government has done enough to educate the society? Because it seems that if the unions have questions, what about the mzazi himself and what about the kids?
The new curriculum is actually not so much acquainted to, and many people are not actually even don't know the content of this. And this is not something new with the government, and even Vision 2030, right now we're almost at the blink of it, but many Kenyans don't actually understand Vision 2030. So with the new curriculum also, we have the public opinion and the public kind of participation within the curriculum is not too much. Even the teachers themselves, I would really love to question whether they really know what the new curriculum is.
So they don't know what they're going to teach?
At some point, I fear to that extent.
And that's risking the lives of our children in future, that is. Because if the teachers, they don't know and they're supposed to teach the same curriculum, what about the children?
You understand about Kenyans is that we only look at the front page, and that is it. Not going to the contents and actually understand what is inside of it. So in terms of even the way we critique from the top. In terms of the way we comment from the top, and we actually don't check.
I think it's all about poor implementation and the supremacy between the union and the Ministry of Education. Again, it comes out, do we need the new curriculum as a country, and where are we heading as a country after the new curriculum? I think it's all about the poor implementation and the supremacy battle between the society and the ministry.
So it's not about really the issues, it's about the power, the supremacy between the two unions.
Yeah.
That's what you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And at the expense of who? The students and the parents? Because you have not seen the parents also undergoing the training. The parents need to be trained also.
At the end of the day, ministry have to work with the TSE and the ministry have to work with teachers on the ground to implement the curriculum. If there is a supremacy battle between the ministry and the union, I don't think it will be implemented, and it won't benefit the students. We are sacrificing the students.
Okay. So this is a debate that is going to continue, because it seems there is no reconciliation coming anytime soon. And also, computer age delays 20 billion pension payments, an estimated 20,000 retired public officers who have gone for months without pay to wait longer for retirement benefits due to what the state calls system failure. Guys, system failure again in our country. And of course, we also talked about the Facebook create gold currency for its subscribers. The digital currency plan has already started to raise questions with lawmakers asking how it will be regulated. And guys, we have seen this issue of cryptocurrency, the new digital currency. We have seen it from Bitcoin, and now we have there's another one they call iCoin from India, I think. And now the Facebook one, they call it Libra. Have you ever engaged yourself in this business of cryptocurrency?
There's one time I really tried to understand what this actually is, and to the fact that yes, many things are going online, but at one point, for me, I tend to believe I still remain the hard way, the hard copy way. For me, the hard money will actually still do, because this is an avenue that many people don't actually understand.
Okay.
And we'd really love to have a lot of it. I think now that Facebook is coming in this, it only calls for us to actually understand and maybe get into it, because it seems as if this is the new trend and we also have to engage in it.
But the cryptocurrency has not been approved by any central bank.
Yes, I remember central bank.
Financial institutions.
Yes, central bank, I remember they were actually having a very big debate in terms of regulating this. So that's why I said at some point I did try, but in terms of I didn't really understand, how it works. Then I actually pulled off. Yes.
You said it remain with your hard man.
Yes. Let me deal with it. Even and especially now that we have the new notes.
So you're good.
Yes.
And Kevin, this cryptocurrency thing, First of all, it's very hard. I have written some articles about it, so I have a little information about them. It's electronic money, and the problem is this electronic money cannot be controlled by either central bank or they are controlled by the. If it's Facebook for now, they'll be in charge. And to control, every country has its own financial management and regulations, and to control these cryptocurrencies will be very hard. And I remember even the central bank governor, Njoroge, advised Kenyans not to risk, and also told them for the benefit of the viewer at home, advised that it will be at your own risk if you involve yourself in these cryptocurrency business or transactions. And now, Kevin,
yes,
in Africa, let's talk about Africa. No Facebook deal with them. Maybe people they understand it. Yeah. Are we really ready for the cryptocurrency?
I don't think so. It's all about technology. You have to understand that in terms of technology, African countries, we are not yet there as compared to European countries. At the same time, it shows that the business world will benefit from a digital currency more than another side or another sector. At the same time, you have to understand that African countries. You just imagine about this. Facebook, the founder of Facebook is from United States. It's not about Africans. I don't think African countries were ready for digital currency.
Okay. And there's another story here at the Standard which is very interesting. Women MPs fight new proposal on 420 towel kitty. Women MPs have challenged Treasury suggestion to have 420 million meant for distribution of sanitary towels appropriated to the Ministry of Education. The kitty, which is currently under the Ministry of Youth and Gender, is used to purchase the towels for school girls. Henry,
yes.
From your home, have you seen this kitty taking place? Because they are saying it has been there, but under the Youth and Gender Affairs.
Basically, I've seen other people actually do this, but I'm yet to see the government. In terms of maybe the county government and the people on the ground do this. Most of the time it's NGOs and donors and sponsors who are actually doing this. Okay. So when we talk about that it is the government kitty, then I'm interested to actually...
so there was an explanation?
Yes, I'm yet to really understand how this operates on the ground.
And Kevin, do you think these 420 million will help our children, especially the girls, pursue the education? It says that most of during their periods, they actually spend around 4 to 5 days at home every month.
If well implemented and a goodwill from the government, it will work for the country. But in Africa, actually in Kenya, we don't have that well implementation of programs. It's a good program. It will help our girls in secondary school, but if well implemented.
Okay. Okay. Now, I don't think we have any other big story that we can feature right now. Especially other sports. We'll discuss that during the sports hour. And here we have, how many minutes do we have? We have another like 5 minutes. Anyway, Henry.
Yes.
Let's summarize all this. In the newspapers today, what do you make of these top stories, especially the education one? What do you think is lacking in all these process of implementation of the new curriculum?
Okay, first and foremost, they say ignorance is no defense, and surely this is it. Most of the Kenyans, we are ignorant about these aspects. And I'm yet to see my learned friend, Musa Odunda, represent the parents and actually speak. But above everything, I think it's high time that we actually understood what the new curriculum is and what its benefits, because for sure, where we stand right now, we cannot operate as normal. We need a change.
So this curriculum might be doomed to fail if it goes this way, it continues this way.
As I said, if the supremacy battle continues this way, then we actually lose, because our main concentration should be not who should actually be doing this, but for the sake of our children and for the sake of our education system, let us criticize and comment on the curriculum and not who is actually behind all this.
Okay, Kevin, as we wind up, what will I take before you go and prepare for your show?
Ask again. I didn't get the main story.
Okay. Okay. What do you make of all these? We have summarized all these stories this morning, and especially the newspapers. what they're giving prominence, and it seems that this education is still a hot pie right now.
Yeah, but you have to understand that all the three newspapers have given a main focus on Uhuru Feast to Rift Valley, and you have to understand that it's all about 2022 politics. We are in a country where politics sell more than development agendas, and then you have to. There's a story on Garissa, and then even Daily Nation has wrote about internet users, how to. It's a wake up call for the internet users. It shows that as a country we are heading somewhere, but not yet there. At the same time, you have to understand there's a story about a certain blogger, Robert Arai, who was arraigned in court. It's somewhere here, but it has not been given that focus as much as the political stories. Yeah.
They should be given focus this morning. Yeah, this today.
Yeah.
Okay. That is it for the newspaper review. Remember to continue chatting with us live on YouTube. We are watching. Tell our friend to watch this very interesting and of course the best morning show in the country right now. And now we take a break. When we come back, it's about youth forum. We talk about the depression among our youth. Remember the suspect the young guy that was shot at State House, and remember also the killings that are going on in our young relationships. That's our conversation we are continuing with after this short breather. Hashtag GBS Morning Extra. Don't go too far.
There is a card that makes paying for almost everything easy like ABCs. No need to make trips to the ATMs to withdraw money or carry cash around. That's the Equity Bank Visa card, accepted everywhere you see the Visa sign. Use it to pay for food and drinks, fuel, shopping, pay for your Uber ride, shop online, travel and hotel bookings, and so much more. Pay conveniently and free of charge. Card security is guaranteed thanks to the chip and PIN technology that protects your card from fraud. Start paying with your Equity Bank Visa card now and enjoy the convenience of not carrying cash.
Baba ki mama ne ka bueno te roca yoga ne oka chango jale ne oka chango taya. You are watching the People's Show in GBS. Don't miss it.
Tunajulikana kwa jina kama Revival Wave Voices kutoka Kasarani.
They are fantastic. Welcome viewers to Talk to Rosemary Njagi show. The Bible says, seek ye the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Oh my, have I provoked you? Then take action.
Different artists. different choirs.
Rescue mission. Pump me with your Holy Spirit.
Different praise and worship. I tell you, this is a show where we bring the best of the best.
It's amazing.
Yes. And shalom.
Tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. At Thika Institute of Business Studies, we give you an opportunity to prepare for tomorrow through unrivaled courses enhanced with practical skills.
We will engage you both in class and out of class, and you shall come out a very different person.
We organize attachment for our students.
Wow, this is the place to be.
Thika Institute of Business Studies, the highway to future success.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to Morning Extra. My name is Tom Mwema, as usual. I've been your host since from 6, and now it's about 6 minutes to 7. And now it's time for Youth Forum. And today, as said earlier, we are discussing about depression amongst the youth. It is not only in youth. Depression has been all over, affecting everyone, but it's a matter of how you manage it. And we are to execute this discussion and to give it to justice. We are joining. And people have been asking, why don't you bring a lady on the set?
Okay.
And today I've said to surprise you with one beautiful lady. That is Evelyn Gatobu.
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
I'm also with the, continue with the Henry.
Yes.
Also a counselor.
Yes, it is.
We also help us deal with all these issues. And now, the most recent story is about the 4-year-old abusing drugs in schools. And that's according to Nakada. And it's something that is shocking, a 4-year-old taking drugs. What's your take on that?
Right now, it's very key to actually understand the trends that we have within the social perspective. And when we began, that's why I said the social fabric is totally tattered. And the biggest fault is that we have seen this, watched this, and done nothing about it. And even what we are doing and what we ought to be kind of doing doesn't match in terms of up to the task of actually curbing this. That is why, you know, a few years ago we'd hear about secondary school, and it was not a very big problem. Right now that has trickled down.
We assumed it.
Yes, yes. Now that has trickled down to as early as 4 years old. You can try to imagine. I have a 4-year-old kid, and I'm trying to imagine actually what this actually means. So it's actually detrimental, and I would actually say is that one, the education system and the way we are bringing up our children actually is not on the correct manner. Right now, more people are focusing on the knowledge perspective, but not many are actually catering for what we call the emotional intelligence, and that is what actually is very detrimental. So it's more about you go to school, learn, have A, have your B, but more to it in terms of what is it on the social perspective, the moral values. Nobody is teaching about these things.
Okay, Eve.
Yes.
A 4-year-old.
Yeah.
You can imagine a 4-year-old
Yeah.
taking drugs.
Yeah.
And where are the loose ends? Is it the fault of their parents or the teachers?
Personally, I think that given that we are dynamic, it's a dynamic world, there are changes. It is surprising, but it's not that surprising that the 4-year-old kid is abusing the drugs. I think the fault goes to both the parents and the teachers, but more so the parents at this point, because we are the parents. Like this age right now, we are the parents. We are the parents of the 4-year-old kids, and if we can't have it together, then our kids won't have it together. If we are doing drugs in front of our kids, they will do the drugs.
So the society has failed.
The society, yes.
Okay, Henry, how do you address this? Because like today, like if you remember some years back, we didn't have the boarding schools for small children. We didn't have kids for small children. So the parent had to stay with the child until like 7 years, so he will go to school. But now we are seeing even 2-year-old kids or 3 being taken to school. They're spending a lot of their time with their teachers and not their parents. Their parents are too busy. Is that something we need to address?
Well, we cannot deny the fact that right now, that as she said, it's dynamic, and parents have to engage and search for money and all these kind of things. I think the main perspective here is not what the parents are actually doing in terms of whether they're in the house or out of the house. The big perspective is that there's something that we are lacking to teach our children. May it be the teacher, may it be the student, even as the society at large. And this is why I said that, and check, everything is changing. The way we take pictures nowadays is selfies as compared to a long time ago.
Yeah.
So if everything is changing, why don't we change even in the way that we bring up our children? Why isn't there change in the moral teaching of our children? So
I think it's also changing because maybe the parents are too busy.
Yes, they're too busy, but even the parents themselves, do they understand what is actually going on? So there's a big lack in terms of knowledge and education, in terms of how to handle the children, in terms of the social trends. For example, right now, all these problems are there, but yes, we'll talk about them. There's a research by NACADA that has already come out, but the best we can do is read about it and shelf it.
Okay, and share it on social media.
Yes. But beyond that, on the ground, what actually happens? And this is whereby I come in handy in terms of teaching about the mind education. Mind education actually focuses on solving the social problems. And one thing is that it's, and this you can take home or to the bank, is that problems will never end. Difficulties, all these kind of things are not anyhowly ending tomorrow. So when they come, what do we do?
Okay.
Is our mind prepared? Because everything, as I said, is changing, but our mentality, our attitude, we also have to change on how we approach issues.
Okay. Yes. Do you think our children know too much than back in the days? Because today you find a 4-year-old kid knows how to operate a phone. She has a social media account. She knows how to take the selfies. Do you think that's the major contributor to our moral decay?
Of course, our children, the children of this age know too much. Like, for instance, when I was growing up, my mom didn't have a phone. So, like, right now, a kid has a phone. So there's that, which is good. We can't say that it's bad. The technology is good. But at the same time, I think our kids need to be nurtured from the word go. As much as there is technology, they need to know what is right, what is wrong. And as you said, the kids are not prepared. We are not prepared to have kids, but we are having the kids anyway. So I think that's the main thing. Like, we should be prepared to have kids before we have kids.
Okay, so it's just to start from the beginning. So we know that I'm going to have a kid the next 9 months.
Yeah.
So I should have another 2 or 3 years and now plan out to bring up this child.
Yeah, if you're planning, or if for instance you get pregnant, you should know, like, in 9 months time or in a year's time, I should be a mom, I should be doing things different. I should know, like, I'm a role model to someone. Someone looks up to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have a reaction on that?
Well and good, but this is something that we cannot actually run away from. But in perspective, I highly advise the parents, please don't give your children smartphones at an early age.
Okay.
And if you do, also control. It's not that, like, whatever the child is, demanding for, you provide. If my child actually is seeking to play the phone, yes, let him play the phone, but only to a certain limit. In terms of control the kid from that early age. Okay. Because what is actually lacking is that right now, and I hope there was a story by CNN and I think Al Jazeera whereby as early as 10-year-old children are owning a smartphone. And the smartphone actually now opens another whole new world to them. So at some point, yes, I know it's a way of whereby parents right now, it's like the parenting new style whereby the child wants a mobile phone, so okay, keep yourself busy with the smartphone and maybe the games and something like this. Okay. But that plays a very big role in terms of
I can see if you want to react. I saw a reaction.
Yes.
Maybe it should be said that that's an old way of bringing up the children.
Yes, I want to differ with you because as much as we are trying to focus on the negatives, there are positives. We are growing. So you cannot focus on the negatives and leave out the positives. There are children who are becoming big at 10 years old too. They need technology. They are learning things from the internet. They know that they can be entrepreneurs. So at the same time, it depends on what the kid does. You just direct the kid. You direct the kid.
Yes,
where to take.
It's very paramount.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask.
Yes.
Even in terms of the parents themselves, when they're using the smartphone, what percentage is positive, what percentage is negative? That's a question.
It's 50-50.
It's 50-50. Yeah. When it is 50-50, then what do you expect for the child? That's why I'm saying from an early position, yes, give the child the smartphone, but also direct.
Teach them.
Teach.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because the most, and this one is a quote that I really want to leave with the parents. Don't be too concerned that your child is not listening to you. Be much more concerned that he's watching.
Okay.
Yes.
And watching the world. And of course, the movies, the content also that is on our TVs nowadays.
That is what actually, yes, that's what I'm actually asking. The child will learn from the parents. So if the parents are in a position whereby they use the internet positively, then the child will grow knowing that on the positive perspective. But if the child then grows knowing on the negative perspective, and this is a very human kind of nature. What you're told not to do is what?
It's what you do.
Yes. Exactly. So that also leaves us at limbo in this perspective.
Okay. You have a reaction or you just go to the next thing? Are you satisfied with what you're saying?
We can do
I can see you have the people.
I need to say something.
And something to note is that right now in developed countries, they have rehabilitation centers. Rehabilitation centers for what? For people who are addicted to computer games and mobile phones. In Kenya, it's a tickling ball.
I'll tell you something,
Yes.
I was privileged to have a computer. See, not the latest computers, but the old school computers, yes, when I was growing up. So the computers do not excite me right now as much. So if you expose your kids right now to technology, they will be in years' time, they won't be excited about the things that come. It's good that you put them like on the trend. Yeah.
So they need to be aware.
They need to be aware. They need to know what's going on.
You are creating the anxiety to know why are you saying you should not play these sites, or why you say you should not play this game. You just trigger the curiosity.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem we have right now.
There's a picture that actually was on the Daily Nation, and I want maybe to focus on this because the 21st century addiction that we have is the mobile phone. and this I must speak because irrespective of that you want to target as the old generation, well and good. But get into a matatu right now. You know, long time ago I would say hi, even to a beautiful lady maybe seated next to me. But nowadays, the first instance when I get to a matatu is check on my mobile phone.
And everybody, the matatu has a mobile phone. It's busy with
Exactly.
on a mobile
And
phone.
the first thing is I'll check an SMS. If no SMS, I'll go to WhatsApp. If no WhatsApp, I'll go to Facebook. If no Facebook, I'll go to Twitter. So the world never ends in terms of the social perspective.
Yeah, okay.
So the most dangerous thing is that we are losing the one-on-one conversation.
Yeah, that's gone.
That's why people go to the extent whereby under the same roof, but I'll text my mom.
Yeah,
this is very detrimental in terms of now the parenthood and the upbringing of our children.
The physical contact.
Yes, yes. I have had instances whereby a mom walks in, finds the child on the computer, and okay, sawa, kwa computer endelea.
They don't even say hi.
But nowadays our parents are more on them more than us.
So, and that's now the problem. Yes. And the result is this these drugs in schools. Okay, now still in drugs issue. It seems it's a mega issue among the youths. You have seen the thicker story.
Yes.
The marijuana cookies. And those who are prepared with them, they have a ready market to sell. Now, why do we need this bank for right now as youths? Is it that if you ask some of the who use it, they'll tell you it gives them hope, it relaxes their mind, they don't think a lot. I've also done research about it, about how it works. But Henry,
yes,
are we too careless, or is it that the use of drugs has become a way of life in our society?
First and foremost, I was a victim for 7 good years to this perspective. And how it began by the curiosity. Like, what is the feeling behind this? So when you actually begin on this perspective, and many people get into these drugs thinking that I will be able to quit, I can manage. This is the mentality that they have. But the biggest thing is, once you get into it, you can never get out of it. So for those who have not begun, please don't begin. Because once you begin, it's a trap. You can't get out of it, especially by yourself. So you need help. Yes. So one thing is that we are creating a very big fuss. Like once you take alcohol, once you take this kind of drugs, there's an anxiety or something like this. Let's call a spade a spade. Today you'll enjoy, but 2 years, 3 years down the line, you'll become a very kind of negative person in the society. So the perspective whereby they think that I can begin and then be able to stop is actually what is making people. And nowadays, I hear people use this tag, believe in yourself, trust in yourself, jitegeme. Even when it comes to drugs, then this is the most dangerous thing.
Okay.
Yes, because I started doing drugs by the aspect that I can be able to stop. But
you just wanted to test.
Yes, just test. One puff. It begins with one puff. Alcohol, it begins with one drink.
Yeah.
Okay. But no one ever plans to be sleep on the ditch and soil on themselves and something like this. They have the mentality, I will only take one, control, and then go home.
Well, of course.
Yes. But this is something of which we should be able to educate the people, that even in terms of medically, these things also have a very negative perspective, especially to the mind and all these kind of things. And once you are on a substance, then also you don't operate on a normal perspective. Actually, it said that you lose the normal logic.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Eve.
Yes.
Now that we have moved from the 4-year-olds to now the youths and the most educated ones.
Yes.
We can excuse the 4-year-olds maybe. No one has told them about the drugs.
Yeah.
Now we have the university students.
Yeah.
The case study being that of the 2 students arrested in Githurai.
Yes.
It seems that they have a ready market for them, as I said earlier.
Yeah.
Now, why is it that the most educated people are now indulging themselves in these drugs?
Okay. Why people take drugs? Why the youths are taking drugs?
Of course. They already have formal education, so they have no excuse to say that we don't know.
I think the main reason is because most of the university students, after completing their education, they don't have anywhere to go. Their parents let them go, they let them go instantly. Okay, I've educated you, now it's your time. But you go out here and there's nothing. Yeah. So I think that's the main reason why people are doing drugs, which is not good though. But I think that's the main reason why.
Okay, so you're saying it's because of they don't know where they're going.
They don't know what
so
they want.
They
don't know what they want with their lives. I feel like our parents did not prepare us enough for this world.
For life, yeah.
Yeah, for the life. For instance, after completing high school, they should have told us, you have 4 years. After 4 years, I'm not helping you do anything. They should have told us that, yeah? They should have told most of the youths like that, yeah?
Go to school, learn, get employed.
Yeah, get employed.
There's other hills here we need to climb before.
Yeah, most university students knew that after school, you get the job, you get married, goes like that. But now after school, you have 3 years not employed. Now you're like, okay, wow, this is not what I expected. So I think that's why.
Okay, Andrew, what do you make of that mindset?
You see, what is actually lacking is engaging in the conversation whereby it's not all about, the intelligence quotient, IQ, and this I had mentioned before. We've been made to understand that life is only made up of, the A's and the B's, and that is why even people who don't qualify to have maybe a C minus are chased out of schools just in the basis that they had a D. So who turned these people as failures? It's actually the education system.
Yeah.
And as she said, then, we have been brought up thinking that life is, going to come on a silver platter or gold plate. And the biggest thing is that we should prepare our minds. We should prepare our children in the perspective of how to handle problems when they come in life. As I said, problems will never end. Difficulties, challenges are always there. The biggest problem is when they come, how do you handle them? Bearing in mind now that we're talking even about depression, do you know that in this world there's nothing to make you depressed? There's nothing to make you have anxiety and stress. It is the way you respond to it. Okay?
You've raised a very important question.
Yes, because some people when they see Eve, they're very happy.
Even though they didn't see her,
yes, when other people see Eve, they get kind of, sad.
Yeah,
so it's not about even the issues that are currently there in terms of the situation. It is how do we react to these situations? Okay. How is our mindset to this?
And then, who is, the mindset is installed by someone in your mind. So, whose role is that? Because even you, when you just come something, they say you are not mature enough, like the youths, you're not mature enough. You come out of the university, as he was saying, and now you find that now a very different world from the one that we had in mind. So you're forced to respond, and in the process of responding, you find yourself taking some negative measures that maybe would affect your life, maybe forever.
Where did the rain start beating us? Is the day that we lost the conversation, the face-to-face conversation.
Okay.
The aspect of whereby long time ago grandparents would sit down with their children and advise them and mold them to an acceptable people within the society. Right now, my mom is too busy, as she was talking, my dad is too busy, and all these kind of things. So in terms of moral and character molding, there is no one actually to do it. So I have failed, you have failed, the whole society has failed. And this is lack of knowledge in this perspective.
From tender age.
Yes, and especially many people right now are being driven toward the materialistic world. It's about what I have, it's about what I want to gain. Why do parents work? They want to have a better house for their children, they want to provide better education for their children. But remembering that it is not about the materialistic world, it's more about the inner man. So we lost the conversation and we are losing it because we are not talking about the inner man. That is why, I'm sorry to go this way, but many people have even lost hope with God and religion and going to church. Why? It's because they're more now focusing on the materialistic world and not focusing on the inner man.
We'll come to that discussion about the church.
Yes.
The church in molding the people's character from tender age.
Yes.
Okay, Eve.
Yes.
Now that as a graduate, You have also been in this process.
Yeah,
As a graduate,
yeah,
you have come out there.
Yes.
Now your parents say, it's your time now.
Yeah.
I've educated you for over, let's say, is it over 15 years? I've been taking care of you. Now it's your time to go out there and take care of me as a parent. Do you think that's the major problem? Do we really need support so that they can be able to stand in their 2 feet before the parents release them?
For one, I think that we are very biased talking about parents. There's some very many people who are not privileged to have parents, so we can do guardians. Yeah, guardians. So for one, I'm very grateful because my mom always tells me that I did not educate you to take care of me. Yeah. So I think parents should not make their children feel burdened to take care of them. Like, now it's your time to take care of me. No, it should not be like that. Like, if you're bringing up your kid, do not expect something in return. I think parents do it wrong. They should not expect something in return. It's not like you are doing your kid a favor, yeah? You are taking care of them. So I think, yeah, that for one.
And what about the church now? Now that most youths have lost hope in church.
Yeah, religion is something that is personal. I believe in God personally, but you will talk to someone else who does not, and they're not ashamed of talking about it.
Interestingly, some of them are doing well in life more than...
Yes, yes, they're doing well in life, and I do not judge them, but it depends on your faith. But I feel like people should... you should, I don't know, I really don't know. I think that's personal. I think religion is personal.
But personal.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Andre, what is your perception of this church? Because you see that the reason why we have lost faith in church is because the church itself has failed to mold the character, and the church, the church leaders or the religious leaders, majority of them have also character issues.
Okay, I'll attach this with the story of depression. Why is that we are losing trust and faith, and we cannot actually go that way is because what we expected does not come. Like, we expect this from you, but actually it's not forthcoming. Actually, we receive a negative perspective. Also in life, why depression comes is that in life you have a certain perspective, you expect this, and then at the end of the day it doesn't happen, and therefore now you start getting this kind of depression and something like this. But the biggest thing to answer your question in terms of the church and the role model in terms of this is it's very true. But remember, as I said, it is because also the church has gone the materialistic way. It's losing track in terms of guiding us in this perspective. So if you see that a pastor who is more, or a church leader who is more focused on the materialistic, then only means that they are actually not aware of the inner man and how to take care of the inner man. Because the only thing that can actually solve all these problems we are talking about is realizing that there is something called the world of the heart and this mind that actually is behind everything. Because before anything comes to the physical perspective, there is a blueprint of it, and that happens in your heart and in your mind. Therefore, if the church was able to take care of the heart and the mind, then we would not actually focus on the materialistic.
So our hearts have no hope.
Okay, yes, because nobody is teaching about the world of the heart. Okay. That is why actually we are losing.
That's the conversation we'll have maybe next week.
Yes.
Yeah, because these are very heated conversations, so we have a long. And then, if before we conclude now, because I'm told that we don't have time, let's comment about the Kibet, the guy who invaded state with a knife. The guy had posted on social media claiming that he was going for the thieves. Misappropriate public coffers. And then some people termed him as a hero and as a representation of what youths out there are feeling about their leaders. What was your take on that, if you conclude?
Positively, I think that this guy, what we've been taught since we were kids, leaders should be role models. Yeah, that is something that we always were taught. And I think that this guy was so disappointed in the system. Like, he realized that it's a lie. These leaders are not role models. I think that is what happened.
Do you think it's the depression that pressed him so much?
Yes, I think that as much as it's wrong. As much as he felt that the leaders are failing, there's nothing that will justify murder. He was like going to kill, yeah? So I think that he was not okay.
Yes, he's a representative of so many out there. Basically because I believe it was not a one-day thing that happened. This man had maybe worked for the last 5 years, 6 years watching this.
So it just grew?
Yes, it grew, and at a point he could not be able to handle it. So, you know, with this perspective, and that is why most of the people who actually get off depressed, they actually need a person to talk to. And not only talk to, but actually share their hearts with, so that they understand this person from, this is the way you see things, this is the perspective of which you see things. It is well and good, no problem. How many times have you ever felt like you really want to box someone? You know, like, that, eh?
Yeah.
So, that is why I'm saying the actions of this man only displayed who he was on the inner person. So if he had found a person who would actually talk to him before it came out to the physical perspective, he would be able to cap this.
But that guy posted on Facebook, but people ignored.
See, the problem is Facebook is not a real conversation.
People should stop seeking validation from social media.
You see, social media is that, yes, I am a grievances there. I become a kingpin in terms of social media. But in terms of relation and face-to-face
no one cares about you.
Then that's the biggest problem we have. And this is my issue with the online and the Facebook. It's not that I'm against technology or anything.
No,
my biggest perspective is we are having the conversation there, but when we come back to the face-to-face, you know, the heart-to-heart conversation, now the real, when I fit into your shoes, there's no that perspective.
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
Sorry, we are run out of time.
Okay.
But I think next week we'll continue the conversation. We'll talk about our leadership as well, the country, and how the leadership is, how do we call that? Is triggering depression amongst our youths. I think that's a conversation we'll have next week, and a better. I hope that we'll have the director will at least give us more time, because it's a very interesting conversation. Okay, thank you so much for keeping it GBS Morning Extra. My name is Tom Mwema. Remember to keep on tweeting, send us your views on Twitter, #ismorningextra. Tell us what you think about all these topics, depression, and if you wish to come on my show, then this is your chance. Just keep tweeting. I might DM you and invite you in the show. Right now, we are going to end there. It's already time. Our time is up. But let's meet tomorrow. Tomorrow is entertainment, so don't have to miss. We have a very great show lined up for you. But my friend is coming up next with Sports Extra, focusing on AFCON. Remember, Harambee Stars have arrived in Egypt, and we need to rally all our support behind them, and hopefully they'll do us proud. Good day.
There is a card that makes paying for almost everything easy like ABCs. No need to make trips to the ATMs to withdraw money or carry cash around. That's the Equity Bank Visa card, accepted everywhere you see the Visa sign. Use it to pay for food and drinks, fuel, shopping, pay for your Uber ride, shop online, travel and hotel bookings, and so much more. Pay conveniently and free of charge. Card security is guaranteed thanks to the chip and PIN technology that protects your card from fraud. Start paying with your Equity Bank Visa card now and enjoy the convenience of not carrying cash.
Baba ki mama ne ka bueno te roca yoga. Ne oka chango, ne oka chango, ne oka chango jale, ne oka chango taya. You are watching the People's Show in GBS. Don't miss it.
Tunajulikana kwa jina kama Revival Voices kutoka Kasarani.
They are fantastic. Welcome viewers to Talk to Rosemary Njagi's show. The Bible says, seek ye the kingdom of God and his righteousness.
Amen. 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 Oh my, have I provoked you? Then take action.
Different artists. Different choirs.
Rescue mission. Pump me with your Holy Spirit.
Different praise and worship. I tell you, this is a show where we bring the best of the best.
It's amazing.
Yes. And shalom.
Yahweh.